Welcome. This is Pema. In this session, I would like to introduce you to one of the greatest teachers of our time. His name is Ram Dass. Maybe some of you already know him. He is very known, especially in the States where he was born. He was a psychologist in Harvard in the 60s. He was also well known in his experimental studies with drugs and its effects on human psychology. And he was very influential in the spiritual arena, spirituality in his generation, and until this generation. He left his body a few years ago, I think last year or 2 years ago. He's one of the teachers that I have a very special place in my heart. He is very elegant, very elaborate, and expresses all his heart in a very beautiful, intimate, and heartfelt way. And it gives me the feeling of the depth of the being and the loving heart, yet it's very simple when it is explained. And I find this very creative in a sense that it is really hard to express one's feelings in deep feelings of love. It is wordless area. It is very hard to describe, yet Ram Dass is one of those men can do this beautifully and successfully, deliciously, ecstatically, as he was all the time, talking about love and love only. He was very famous with his book called Be Here Now. Actually, he was the one who brought this term to forward to the spirituality more and more, made it front stage. Be here now, along with Eckhart Tolle. Also Eckhart Tolle we need to mention when we talk about being in the now, being present. So without further ado, I would like to read a passage from his book called Be Here Now. And he's using those words. When I picked up this book in India, actually, a few years back, I started reading it, and it was amazing because the way he's describing, especially his relationship with his guru Neem Karoli Baba, which through his words I could connect to him, where Neem Baba says also, whoever really feels and calls for me deep in the heart sincerely, I will be there. So he was for me in my experience, so I could connect to Neem Baba through Ram Dass's words, and not only words, of course, the energy, the essence behind Ram Dass's words. And I feel I have already met him. I have many friends who have met him, and I have met Ram Dass's friends, but not him particularly in physical. But I really feel I have met him in the heart, and where he connected me to his teacher, which all comes at the end to love. It is a love story. It's a one love story shared by billions, let's say. So I'd like to read this passage from his book, which is the first chapter, The Path of the Heart. Imagine feeling more love from someone than you have ever known. You are being loved even more than your mother loved you when you were an infant, more than you were ever loved by your father, your child, or your most intimate lover, anyone. This lover doesn't need anything from you, isn't looking for personal gratification, and only wants your complete fulfillment. You are loved just for being who you are, just for existing. You don't have to do anything to earn it. Your shortcomings, your lack of self-esteem, physical perfection, or social and economic success, none of that matters. No one can take this love away from you, and it will always be here. Imagine that being in this love is like relaxing endlessly into a warm bath that surrounds and supports your every movement, so that every thought and feeling is permeated by it. You feel as though you are dissolving into love. This love is actually part of you. It is always flowing through you. It is like subatomic texture of the universe, the dark matter that connects everything. When you tune into that flow, you will feel in your own heart, not your physical heart or your emotional heart, but your spiritual heart, the place you point to in your chest when you say, I am. This is your deeper heart, your intuitive heart. It is the place where the higher mind, pure awareness, the subtler emotions, and your soul identity all come together, and you connect to the universe where presence and love are. Unconditional love really exists in each of us. It is part of our deep inner being. It is not so much an active emotion as a state of being. It is not I love you for this or that reason, not I love you if you love me. It is love for no reason, love without an object. It is just sitting in love, a love that incorporates the chair and the room and permeates everything around. The thinking mind is extinguished in love. If I go into the place in myself that is love, and you go into the place in yourself that is love, we are together in love. Then you and I are truly in love, the state of being love. That is the entrance to oneness. That is the space I entered when I met my guru. Years ago in India, I was sitting in the courtyard of their little temple in the Himalayan foothills. 30 or 40 of us were there around my guru, Maharaji. This old man, wrapped in a plaid blanket, was sitting on a plank bed, and for a brief uncommon interval, everyone had fallen silent. It was a meditative quiet, like an open field on a windless day, or a deep, clear lake without a ripple. I felt waves of love radiating towards me, washing over me like a gentle surf on a tropical shore, immersing me, rocking me, caressing my soul, infinitely accepting and open. I was nearly overcome, on the verge of tears, so grateful and so full of joy. It was hard to believe it was happening. I opened my eyes and looked around, and I could feel that everyone else around me was experiencing the same thing. I looked over my guru. He was just sitting there, looking around, not doing anything. It was just his being, shining like the sun, equally on everyone. It wasn't directed at anyone in particular. For him, it was nothing special, just his own nature. This love is like sunshine, a natural force, a completion of what is, a bliss that permeates every particle of existence. In Sanskrit, it is called Sat Chit Ananda, truth, consciousness, bliss. The bliss of consciousness of existence. That vibrational field of Ananda, love, permeates everything. Everything in that vibration is in love. It is a different state of being beyond the mind. We were transported by Maharaji's love from one vibrational level to another, from the ego to the soul level. When Maharaji brought me to my soul through that love, my mind just stopped working. Perhaps that's why unconditional love is so hard to describe, and why the best descriptions come from mystic poets. Most of our descriptions are from the point of view of conditional love, from an interpersonal standpoint that just dissolves in that unconditioned place. When Maharaji was near me, I was bathed in that love. One of the other Westerns with Maharaji, Larry Brilliant, said, "How do I explain who Maharaji was and how he did what he did? I don't have any explanation. Maybe it was his love of God. I can't explain who he was. I can almost begin to understand how he loved everybody. I mean, that was his job. He was a saint. Saints are supposed to love everybody. But that's not what always staggered me. Not that he loved everybody, but that when I was sitting in front of him, I loved everybody. That was the hardest thing for me to understand, how he could so totally transform the spirit of people who were with him and bring out not just the best in us, but something that wasn't even us, that we didn't know. I don't think any of us were ever as good or as pure or as loving in our whole lives as we were when we were sitting in front of him. Brilliant in Ramdas explains, and I'm sure these are not just only my feelings that he puts into these words so elaborately, and is flowing in between his lines, which every time I read brings tears to my eyes, because it is connected to that love. I don't know about you, but when I was reading it, and actually, honestly, I haven't been holding this book since a long time. When I read it thoroughly, and I think I read it some parts twice or thrice. And after many years of reading this again, right now, as I'm speaking to you also, I have connected to that place again. So some works like this book that I have in my hands are just not paper and some print and some words and some thoughts. What I'm holding in my hand right now, as I was reading it to you, I have traveled to that place where they were sitting with Maharaji, Neem Karoli Baba, as he is called in India. I've connected to that place, and I'm still connected right now, and this love is flowing through me. I felt exactly the same when I met my guru. over the years I brought so many people to him. Not once somebody came out of that place of love, pure ocean of love, untouched. Everyone who went into that ocean came out touched in some shape or form, whatever. But no one is immune to this type of love, which is not personal, which is not coming from somebody. It is just is. I'd like to read more from Ram Dass in the future. Let this be the initiation. I think that's a great initiation, which I received. Ram Dass's darshan, reading his words again. I hope you will do the same.